Um, uh, what? What's up, everyone? It's manga time once again. I'm here today to bring you my review of Bleach 572, The Blaster. This chapter is crazy. When I first saw the title, I was like, okay, what the hell does this have to do with the Yachiru's fight? And then I thought, could it be we were wrong about the balance, and it's actually Hash Wolf, and he's in this chapter for some reason. I'm kind of glad he wasn't, though, because the Blaster would have been a bit disappointing. No, this chapter is weird. It does stick with the Yachiru fight. It's weird, but I actually really like it. So it starts off with Isane looking on in shock, basically, as Yachiru ended the last chapter with slicing through Guenael, and pretty much what happened is what we thought happened. But we'll get to that in a second, because Isane has some issues with Yachiru's Shikai Sanpo Kenju. It's not a katana that can transform like Unohana's. Unohana's Minazuki, the actual blade turns into the manta ray, then it turns back into the sword. The katana hasn't transformed, but she has brought forth beings. Now, I don't think that's that weird. I don't really get what Kubo's trying to tell us here. It's because Tenken, the blade doesn't change, but he still summons a being. And obviously Kokujo, Tengen Myo, he does a full being, but that's only a Bankai, so maybe the big deal is the fact that she can summon 2 full beings in just Shikai. And is that like a testament to her Reiatsu? I don't really know. I don't kind of get what Kubo's trying to say there. Some people have theorized that it's perhaps not her Shikai. That'd be a bit weird, though. But anyway, Guenael slides backwards, and he's taken a pretty severe hit to the face. As you remember, at the end of the last chapter, she cut him in half. So exactly what happened is what we thought happened. His after image got cut in half, but he did get hit because of Sanpo Kenju's ability. So yeah, he's like, you really thought I wasn't going to dodge it, etc., etc. Typical bad guy spiel. But then he loses a big chunk of his body. Now this is when the chapter starts to get a bit mindfuckery to begin with. Isane and Yachiru are like, what the hell? Well, Yachiru's not really like... That's kind of funny. He's just lost this big chunk of his body, and Yachiru's just sort of like, oh well. But yeah, this is really interesting, this part. Guenael says this can't be, and then all of a sudden this new Sternritter shows up, and he's sitting on Kensei and Rose's bed inside Isane's barrier. Where's this guy been all the time? I'm not really sure. Now, this is interesting, what Guenael says. Guenael says, is this the end of me? I tried my best, didn't I? And the new Sternritter's like, yeah, you did. My product of fantasy. Now, Guenael here sounds like he's subservient to this new Sternritter. Okay, so Guenael is like, I can still fight with my ability, these guys are going to blah blah blah. And the new guy, who looks like a lot like the Fullbringer Yukio, he's like some kid with kind of blank black eyes, blonde curly hair, but he's got like a hooded trench coat that kind of goes down all the way. He looks quite cool, actually. He's basically saying, Guenael's ability is really cool, it's really amazing. You can vanish from memory, and now from my memory you vanished as well. Now this dude's taking the piss out of Guenael. He's basically saying, bye. He's basically saying, yeah, see ya. Now, that's weird. A lot of people have speculated, because of this guy's ability, which we'll get into in a minute, that Guenael is not a real Sternritter, and is in actual fact a product of this guy's fantasy. And is therefore not a real person. But the thing that kind of, because obviously he speaks like he's subservient, the way he's like, I tried my best, I can still fight. But the way he then tries to attack this Sternritter goes against that theory, in my opinion. And I think that Guenael Lee is a Sternritter. I think Sternritter V is him, unless this dude turns out to be Sternritter V next chapter or something. But basically, Guenael, I think this guy's name. This guy may or may not be called Guremi, because Guenael's like Guremi, and then he attacks him. Interestingly, not with his knife. He summons a light blade. But he leaps at him, and the guy's like, "I'm sorry, I have no idea who you are." And then he's like, "The future you once had, I can't imagine it any longer." Basically, that's how he then kills Guenael, and Guenael's eye goes flying, which is kind of nice. So at the moment, it's completely speculative. Is Guenael Lee a real Sternritter? I think he probably was, because I think this kid is just taking the mick out of him with what he's saying. That's kind of what I think's happening, and then he's just decided to kill him for no real reason. But anyway, and Isane's like, oh, this is stupid. Isane is getting properly shafted. Why? This Sternritter is sitting on the beds of 2 injured captains, and Isane's like, please get away from there. And the Sternritter's like, oh, okay, I'll go. Like, I mean, like, if what has happened hadn't already happened, why on earth would the Sternritter just go? Luckily, though, this Sternritter means business, apparently. And he's like, you know, are you concerned about these officers? No, there's no need to get so worked up about it. I've already killed them. What? Like, that's the bit of the chapter that made me go, Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Wow. Like, obviously, Isane's shocked. She jumps into the barrier. She does some weird thing. I don't really get it, but she determines that they are indeed dead. Now, again, this is another point of contention. For starters, let's just get... If they are dead... I'm slightly disappointed because I really like Kensei and Rose, and I like Rose a lot, and I wanted to see them do more, but it's evident at this point that Kubo's not really bothered about their characters. And if he's going to kill off any captains, it was going to be those 2. We may get Captain Hisagi yet. That would make sense since he's now apparently got a Bankai, etc., etc. Now it's interesting. This guy's ability seems to be similar to Rose's Bankai, in that he plants an idea in your head. And if you imagine that, because he's giving you the idea, it happens. So he says, these guys are dead. At this point, they might not be dead. But Isane is like, oh my god, they're dead. Like, you know, instant thought, and that means they do die. Or they just appear dead to her. We need a bit more explanation on it. But they might not be dead, because Isane might just think they're dead. If that makes sense. It's a bit Kyokusui Getsui, maybe, that they're not actually dead, but this guy makes you think they are. Or they might be dead. You know, the guy might have killed them, because that's what he imagined. But anyway, Yachiru tries to attack him with a Shikai, he just kind of dodges it. In this really funky forward bend over, he's like, whoa, just goes flying. But anyway, he's like, you know, you got to be joking. You know, the way you attack me like that, I'd have to be a statue not to move. The way you telegraph your attack. So he's taking the mick out of her now. She then swings down, he grabs her arm, in a Barragan-style move. He breaks it just by touching it. Now, this is where we start to get... okay, it's really kind of difficult to explain. Yachiru says, my arm feels like it's breaking. Then the Sternritter says, imagine, what if the bones in your arms were nothing more than cookies? So right here, this is where it all gets a bit weird. Because right here the Sternritter says, just now you thought, well, of course they'd be broken. And then you imagined it. Now, what the Sternritter is implying is that his ability is what I just said, that he gives them the idea, they imagine it, and then it happens. But the thing is, how does that work when Yachiru thought her arm was broken before he planted the idea in her head that they were made of cookies? That's weird. I don't know if maybe his ability is maybe more powerful than what he's making out to be. But then he's basically putting ideas in Yachiru's head. We don't have enough to know this chapter, so I'm just throwing out ideas to speculate. We then get this cool image of the new Sternritter with this hooded cloak. You can't see his face, looks pretty sinister. And he's like, in this world, the most powerful force is imagination. Anything I can imagine becomes reality. So maybe he doesn't have to feed them the idea. It's very. We need a proper explanation, I think. But then, in my opinion, the most disappointing event of the chapter happens. There's a massive explosion, and this guy's like, Yachiru's reactor is getting pretty low, so I decided to see what the fuss was all about. Kenpachi arrives! Yay! No, but in all seriousness, I'm interested to see what Kenpachi's going to do. Now, there's a couple of things we can take from note from this. when Kenpachi arrives, he specifically says Yachiru's Reiatsu was getting pretty low. This implies that Kenpachi has improved his Reiatsu detecting abilities. If he could tell like her Reiatsu was getting lower. That's pretty specific pinpointing. So he's getting better at that. However, there are some things that are strange to me. The fact that he knows his sword's name, their relationship was supposed to be patched up. So why is the sword still cracked and broken? That's weird. Maybe it's just this picture, maybe the sword's not as badly cracked and broken as it was before, but you would think their relationship might have forged a better looking sword. Also, why is Kenpachi still wearing his eye patch? I kind of figured he was supposed to now have understood what true battle was, he doesn't need to mess around anymore. So yeah, that's kind of weird. But yeah, Kenpachi's here. He's here earlier than I anticipated, which in some ways is good, because that means that... Because a lot of people are worried he's going to be monstrously overpowered. And my opinion is that him getting here obviously doesn't mean that he's weaker than the people that haven't got here yet, because he's not going to be weaker than like Tsukishima, Grimjo, but at the same time it means he's not going to be too overpowered, I think. Another worry is that he's just going to waste this new Sternritter, which would be such a disappointment, because this new Sternritter seems to be really awesome, and if he really has killed Kensei and Rose, then that'd be crazy. However, of course, there is another thing, that maybe when this Sternritter dies, his powers go away and Kensei and Rose will be fine again. That would disappoint me. That would really disappoint me, actually, because it should either be, Kubo, you say you kill them off, so just kill them off, or don't. Or, because having even Isane go, oh my god, they're actually dead, really puts in your mind that they're dead. Kind of like the Sternritter's abilities working on us. But yeah, no. Overall, it was actually a pretty good chapter. Where's Unohana? I would have much rather seen her come back, but I still think she's there. I think Kenpachi's going to do his thing. Whether he kills his Sternritter or not, I don't know. But then you hear this voice and they'll be like, oh, well done, that was nicely done. And then Unohana will walk out behind him. Something like that. I expect that to happen in the next few chapters. But yeah, like I said, I hope Kenpachi doesn't waste this guy. I presume we'll be seeing Kenpachi's proper named Shikai next week, which would be pretty neat. Hopefully we'll get this guy's name and letter. Whether he's the real Sternritter V or not is something to be decided probably next week. I think he's probably not. I'm pretty sure Guenael was the real Sternritter V. But regardless, this guy looks cool. I like his design. I like his ability. It's very overpowered though, very hacks. So we're going to have to see how Kenpachi gets around it. If it's simple as slash, you're dead. Giriko all over again. Fucking boring. I'm like, well, that was shit. But I really hope that doesn't happen. But that's always a worry with Kenpachi. So that's really it for this chapter, guys. It was pretty mental. Quite a lot happened. I'm going to drop a 9 on it. The only real disappointment for me was Kenpachi arriving so soon. At the same time, though, I don't mind that, but the main disappointment was that Kenpachi's arrival brings with it a lot of concerns, if that makes sense. Nevertheless, I am interested to see what Kenpachi can do now, and interested to see his Shikai, potential Bankai, though we won't see that yet if he really has one, and potential Unohana return as well. But at the same time, I'm disappointed Isane hasn't got to properly fight yet. Why hasn't she released Itagumo? Why hasn't she done anything? Maybe she'll fight with Unohana later on or something. And it's a little bit disappointing that Yachiru got trolled for the purpose of bringing Kenpachi in. But then, who didn't expect that, So yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think Kensei and Rose are actually dead? What do you think of the new Sternritter? And are you excited to see Kenpachi fight at... I was going to say at last, but he's fought so many times in the past. Fight again. Just let me know in the comments below what you thought. As always, don't forget to subscribe to my videos. I'd really appreciate it. And give the video a thumbs up. That would be great. And yeah, that's it, guys. 9 out of 10 for me this week. So let me know in the comments below what you thought. And I'll catch you guys later. But until then, see ya.